Manifest miraculous wealth, love and abundance in 40 days with supernatural 417 Hz frequencies. In the heart of a quaint English village, surrounded by the gentle embrace of lush rolling hills, a vibrant call echoed through the ancient stone walls of the local chapel. The air shimmered with divine possibility. Manifest miraculous wealth, love, and abundance in 40 days with supernatural 417 Hz frequencies. It felt like the heavens themselves had whispered a promise that the very essence of the village's collective faith could catalyze miraculous change. Sarah, a devoted single mother in her late 30s, had been a faithful figure in this sacred space for years. The chapel was her refuge, a place where she poured her heart into prayer, seeking guidance amid the shadow of growing financial burdens. Each word uttered seemed to dance in the air, weaving an atmosphere pregnant with hope and expectation. On this fateful day, as Sarah lingered in quiet prayer, she stumbled upon an ancient manuscript hidden beneath the altar cloth, a text alive with tales of sacred frequencies. Her heart raced as the faded ink proclaimed the power of 417 Hz, a frequency said to unlock divine abundance when united with passionate community prayer over a transformative journey. Inspiration swept through Sarah like a breeze carrying the scent of blooming flowers. Driven by newfound hope, she gathered her small parish community. Each neighbor, kind-hearted but wavering in faith, was invited. Together, they began to meet each afternoon, their voices intertwining like vibrant notes in a celestial melody, resonating with the enchanting vibrations of 417 Hz. Their pastor, filled with warmth and encouragement, blessed their gatherings, igniting a spark of unity within the group. Before long, miracles began to unfold. A weary baker received unexpected job offers. An elderly widow found herself gifted a sum of money from an unknown donor, her heart grateful and astonished. Joy rippled through the crowd, yet shadows of skepticism lingered. Whispers among some villagers questioned, "Can faith coupled with such a frequency really manifest wealth?" Just as hope bloomed like a strong vine, calamity struck. Sarah's aging car, their sole means of transport, broke down. It seemed an ironic twist in the tale, and worse still, the funds she had counted on vanished into thin air. Doubt crept through the gathering like storm clouds, and the tender unity they had forged began to unravel. It was then, one quiet evening, Sarah ventured into deep prayer. In the stillness, a surge of insight flooded her mind. She realized that true abundance did not dwell solely in material gain, but rather in the love and unwavering support of their united community. Tears of joy and reverent fear cascaded down her cheeks as she deciphered her vision, a promise that they were to lift each other in tumultuous times, embodying the hands and feet of God on earth. As she shared this profound revelation with the villagers, a renewed spirit enveloped them. "We are more than this struggle," she proclaimed. Uniting once again, they invited divine intervention in their next prayer meeting, voices soaring amidst the sacred vibrations of 417 Hz. The energy within the chapel crackled as hope began to take deeper root. But just as their spirits soared, lingering questions hung heavy. Could their faith endure such trials? What sacred revelations awaited them as they embraced this profound journey? With hearts in sync and a tapestry of divine possibility woven anew, they stood on the threshold of a transformation that could redefine not just their understanding of wealth and love, but also the very essence of community itself. The next evening, a sacred silence filled the chapel as the villagers gathered once more under the warm gaze of flickering candlelight. Sarah stood at the front, her heart ablaze with a fervent desire to deepen their connection to the divine current pulsing through their lives. The hum of anticipation buzzed around her, each soul present ready to embrace the miraculous journey unfolding before them. "Tonight," she began, her voice steady yet resonant, "let us focus not only on our desires but on the love that binds us. Let the sound of our voices lift us up, resonating with the 417 Hz frequency, pouring our collective heart into the universe." As they began to sing, a gentle wave of harmony enveloped the humble space. Each note seemed to float like a feather, caressing the air with promises of hope. Those who had once doubted now surrendered to the magic of the moment. The beautiful vibrations of their combined faith began weaving a tapestry that transcended their material struggles. Yet, a young man named Thomas, usually cheerful and vibrant, sat silently at the back, a cloud of worry darkening his countenance. He watched his friends express joy and faith, yet he felt an ache in his soul. Just a few days prior, his father had fallen ill, a sickness that stole away their family's strength and financial peace. As the singing continued, Sarah caught sight of him. Her heart ached with love for him. She gestured, inviting him forward. "Thomas," she said, her voice soft, "you are not alone in this fight. Let us pray together for your father's healing." The congregation shifted their focus, sensing the deep need emanating from Thomas. As they encircled him, laying hands on his shoulders, a powerful stillness filled the air. The energy of the 417 Hz frequency intensified, wrapping around them like a divine embrace. Sarah led the group in prayer, imploring for healing, love, and strength. Tears glistened in Thomas's eyes as he felt a warming presence wash over him, dissolving his fears. Moments later, the uncontrollable urge to hoist his hands towards the heavens took over. "Thank you, Lord," he exclaimed, his voice breaking as joy spilled forth. "I feel your peace." The villagers surged in affirmation, an explosion of faith echoing through the chapel's stone walls. Outside, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow into the sacred space. In that moment, they knew they were part of something larger than themselves. Each day, they would seek to manifest love not just as a concept, but as tangible acts. It wasn't merely about riches, it was about their intertwined souls, hearts bursting with divine connections and miracles taken from the hand of God. But just as hope and joy began to flourish, an unexpected visitor strode through the chapel doors. A tall figure cloaked in mystery, eyes sparkling with knowledge but shadowed by an air of solemnity. They paused in the doorway, stirring a wave of curiosity and cautious reverence among the villagers. "Who is that?" whispered a woman in the back, the query heavy with intrigue. The intruder stepped forward, a message waiting to unravel, a divine revelation poised to reshape their understanding once again. What journey would they embark upon next? The figure, cloaked in shadows yet illuminated by the gentle candlelight, stepped further into the chapel. The atmosphere shifted palpably, tension mingling with excitement. Sarah's eyes widened, her heart racing. She could sense a powerful presence spilling into their sacred space. "Peace be with you." The stranger spoke softly, yet each word seemed to resonate, as if striking a chord deep within every listener's heart. "I come bearing a message from the heavens, a call to awaken." The villagers leaned closer, their hunger for understanding palpable. Who was this envoy of divine insight? What message could unfold before them? Even Thomas, still trembling with renewed hope, felt curiosity tugging at his spirit. "I am Elias," the stranger continued, peeling away layers of their uncertainty. "The Creator has witnessed your struggles, your prayers, and your unyielding faith. A new chapter is dawning, and it is intertwined with the vibrational frequency that you embrace tonight." Sarah felt a profound stirring within her. "What does this mean for us, Elias?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper as everyone hushed, drinking in the gravity of the moment. Elias looked around the room, eyes alight with a wisdom that transcended time. "This frequency, the 417 Hz, has the power to dissolve blocks and open gateways. You have summoned it through your love and unity, but there is more to the journey ahead. Embrace it, breathe it in, let it guide your actions, your thoughts, and your relationships." The congregation shifted uneasily, trying to wrap their minds around the promise of such immense potential. "How do we begin?" called out a voice from within the crowd, a man whose voice trembled with eagerness. "Through commitment," Elias replied, a serene smile gracing his lips. "I urge you to dedicate 40 days to this practice, 40 days of love, gratitude, and release. Each day, focus on a different aspect of your life that needs healing or abundance. Sing, pray, connect with one another and the divine." Gasps of awe and whispers of wonder rippled through the room. This could transform their lives, weave miracles into their existed tapestry. "Seek the truth in your hearts," Elias continued, "for it is where you will find the path laid out for you. Fear not, for you do not walk alone. Each step you take toward light will illuminate the way for others." As the message landed among them, Sarah felt her spirit rise. "We accept this challenge," she declared, spirit-empowered. "We will embark on this journey together, as one family, as one body of faith." The villagers erupted into spirited agreement, their hearts intertwining with a shared resolve. They lifted their hands toward Elias, their intentions reaching for divine affirmation. "Guide us," they prayed, "each day to deeper love and miraculous abundance." Elias nodded, pride shining in his eyes. "Then let it begin." As he spoke those words, an otherworldly glow enveloped the chapel. The flickering candlelight danced wildly, and an electric energy surged through the souls present, a divine confirmation of their willingness to step forward into this promised hope. But just as the light intensified, something shifted. A murmur swept through the villagers, unexpected and unsettling. Was this the calm before a greater storm? What obstacles lay ahead as they grappled with their faith under the weight of such profound transformation? With hearts racing, they felt the faith-stirring journey before them, both alluring and daunting. What battles would they face for love in abundance? What spiritual metamorphosis awaited them? The air buzzed with anticipation. The first step had been taken, but what challenges lurked in the shadows, and how would they manifest God's abundance in the days to come? As the chapel basked in the glow of reverence, the villagers felt a divine current coursing between them, a promise of unity and metamorphosis. Yet the echo of Elias's words hung heavily in the air. Commitment. What weight would that carry in the days to come? The clarity of the moment drew them in, but uncertainty began to seep into their hearts. Would they really be able to sustain this sacred practice for 40 days? Was each fortnight's challenge really manageable? Sarah sensed mingled excitement and trepidation all around her, and she took a deep breath, rallying herself and the others. "Let us not be afraid, my brothers and sisters," she said, her voice gaining strength. "Our faith has brought us this far. If we can forge this path together, we will know strength and transformation." Suddenly, a soft breeze swept through the chapel, lifting the candles' flames, and a gentle sigh of hope crossed the gathered crowd. They exchanged glances, their resolve hardening as if invisible threads of spirit began to weave them into a single tapestry of faith. Elias raised his hands and saturated the space with a tranquil energy. "Look beyond your fears and doubts. Each day is a gift. Each moment holds opportunity. Remember, vulnerability does not equate to weakness. It simply signifies your willingness to grow." His words echoed through the congregation, igniting sparks of courage. The villagers started to share their fears and hopes with one another. Thomas stood, hands shaking yet fists clenched. "I've always wanted to find peace within myself," he confessed. "But what if I fail?" "Failure is but a stepping stone," Elias reassured him. "What matters is that you are willing to try." Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes. She saw themselves as a family, flawed yet resilient. "Let us write our commitments," she proposed, her spirit ignited with passion. "Each of us should take a moment to reflect on our individual struggles and write what we intend to work on. What blocks do we wish to dissolve?" One after another, villagers stepped forward. A woman named Mary spoke softly. "I long for reconciliation with my brother. We've been apart for years." A gentle murmur of agreement swept across the room. "Let this be your first focus during the challenge, Mary," said Elias, a warm smile radiating warmth. "Your intent to heal your heart will inspire those around you." People began jotting down their intentions, some tears spilling down cheeks, hearts swelling with hope. The room transformed as individual aspirations began to weave into a collective tapestry, each thread reflecting love, trust, and the promise of change. As the evening drew on, Elias invited them to sing, a melody born not from sound, but from their souls. They filled the chapel with a harmonious blend of voices, echoing their intentions up to the heavens. Each note vibrated with the sacred frequency Elias had spoken of. Joy blossomed. But as the final notes lingered in the air, the atmosphere shifted again. A flicker of darkness brushed against the edges of their gathering. Soft whispers began, seemingly from nowhere. Was it doubt? A test? Each villager felt it, an unsettling presence creeping into their newfound faith. Elias lowered his arms, his brow furrowing slightly. "The journey won't be without resistance. You will encounter trials that will challenge your resolve. Remember to lean on each other when the shadows come. Pray for strength." Sarah's heart tightened. This was only the beginning, but how would they face the darkness lurking at the edges of this sacred promise? What strength would they find together? As the villagers exchanged anxious glances, a deep sense of camaraderie anchored them. They were united, each heart beating in resonance with the other. And though the challenges seemed daunting, together they could face the storm. "Do not fear, for the light always follows the darkness," Elias said solemnly. "What you are about to embark upon will show you the real depth of God's abundance. The promise of miracles hung in the air, the promise of transformation." Sarah's heart pounded with anticipation and fear. Would their faith withstand the coming trials? As they prepared to step into the uncharted days ahead, Sarah wondered, what tests awaited them, and how would they manifest the divine abundance of love and wealth in the days to come? The morning sun bathed the village in warm golden light, but Sarah's heart felt heavy with questions. She rose early, the quiet stillness of dawn enveloping her as she made her way to the chapel. Could they truly hold on to the connection they forged the night before? The air felt charged with potential, and yet uncertainties loomed like shadows. Upon entering the chapel, she found it transformed. The sunlight streamed through stained glass, painting the walls in vibrant hues. Yet the thrill of beauty could not quell the nagging worry that danced at the edge of her thoughts. The others would soon arrive. Would they carry the same fire in their spirits as the night before? As the villagers trickled in, a palpable energy filled the space, laughter mingling with hesitant murmurs. Thomas approached Sarah, his face alight with determination, yet overshadowed by anxiety. "I stayed up thinking about my commitment," he confided. "I want to change, but what if I falter?" "Remember, Thomas," she said softly, "each day is also a chance to rise again. It's about progress, not perfection." The gentle nod of his head was a comfort. The warmth of their shared intent pulsed through the room. Elias entered, a serene presence, and the energy shifted as all eyes turned to him. "Today marks the beginning of your journey," he proclaimed. "However, the path will not always be straightforward. Beneath every vision of hope lies the potential for fear to creep in." The villagers listened, their breaths held. But fear can lead to something beautiful. It can teach you to cling tightly to each other. You will gather courage in community. Elias invited them to close their eyes and breathe deeply, guiding them to a place within where doubts and fears could be gently acknowledged and released. "Keep your hearts open," he instructed. "Visualize what you wish to manifest in your lives. Let the energy flow." He bathed them in an even deeper tranquility, his words wrapping around their spirits. The mingled scent of incense and fresh flowers filled the chapel, wrapping around them. They exhaled together, a collective sigh, a letting go of burdens and doubts. As they stood in this sacred space, a stirring of hope whispered through the chapel like a soft breeze. Sarah's heart soared. They began to share, voice by voice, the visions they held: love for their families, reconciliation, healing, and hope for abundance. "I want to start a new chapter with my estranged sister," Mary said, her voice quivering but firm. "I've let the years slip away, and now is the time to reach out." "I want to embrace joy fully," Thomas declared, clarity illuminating his features. "No more fear of failure, only the blessings of what is yet to come." Elias smiled at their openness. "Each commitment is a seed. Water them with faith, cultivate them with love, and watch them blossom." The vulnerability echoed throughout the room. As they shared their intentions, the shadows of doubt seemed to dissipate. Hope danced on their lips, lightening the heaviness of fear. Yet, as they prepared to move into practice, a sudden chill swept through the air, and a hush fell over everyone. The whispers returned, curling ominously around the edges, as if the doubts had found a way back in. Elias paused, sensing the shift. He stepped closer, intensity in his gaze. "Do not let fear shake your resolve. You have the power to call forth wealth and love. Trust in your commitments, lean on each other, and remember, every challenge is an invitation to grow deeper in faith." Sarah's heart raced. The tension in the air was unmistakable. Would they weather the impending storm? Would their faith hold? As they opened their eyes and the sunlight poured over them once more, a collective breath was taken. They knew they had to continue forward, but uncertainty lingered. What trials lay on the horizon, waiting to test the strength of their bonds? The promise of miracles was still intertwined with the unknown. And so, they embraced the day, stepping out into the world. What new challenges would they face, and how would their commitments unfold? With anticipation and apprehension, they ventured forth, determined yet uncertain. The village lay in the glow of early morning, its heartbeat steady yet quickening with the new dawn. As Sarah stepped outside, the sun glimmered brightly, yet in that brilliance was an underlying heaviness that mirrored the struggle within her heart. The commitments they had made together echoed in her mind. Would they truly blossom or fade away like mist? As villagers meandered along the cobblestone paths, a buzz of excitement mixed with apprehension filled the air. In the marketplace, laughter rang, but whispers of doubt started to creep in, swirling like unseen currents. It was noticeable in the way people glanced at each other, weighing their intentions with the gravity of the past. Sarah approached the gathering at the fountain where several villagers convened. Thomas was there, his brow knitted as he spoke with Mary. "It's as if I woke up this morning and all my fears pressed down harder," he admitted, his voice tinged with frustration. "Don't lose hope, Thomas," she chimed in, her spirit ignited with a fierce flame. "Our commitment is our shield. Remember, we're in this together." Mary brightened at Sarah's words. "Yes, we have the strength of each other. Let's remind ourselves of the love that knits us." The small group nodded in agreement, the flicker of camaraderie lighting their spirits. Then, as if summoned by intention, Elias appeared on the edge of the gathering. He walked with purpose, his presence exuding tranquil strength. "Gather near. I see the shadows in your hearts. Let's confront them together," he urged softly, but his voice carried authority. They formed a circle, hands linked, forming a web of unity. "Remember," he said, "the love we share is a great fortification against fear. Let's call forth our intentions together. Release what is weighing you down." The group inhaled deeply, a synchronized breath of conviction, filling their lungs with hope, breathing out tension. "Imagine the wealth in love as a garden," Elias spoke gently, guiding them. "You must cultivate it, let it grow, nourish it with your faith, and miracles will bloom." A palpable warmth enveloped them, the energy of collective intention swirling like a tangible force. Each heart poured out its desires, healing, richness in relationships, the reopening of long-buried dreams. Sarah felt a surge, like a wildfire igniting in her chest, encouraging her to cast away her doubts. "I see us thriving together," she shouted, her voice bright and clear. "Bound by love, strong against challenges, let our fears be trampled beneath our hope." For a moment, the chapel's essence surrounded them, filling their spirits with electric energy. They were emboldened, like soldiers ready for battle. Eyes glistened with tears, not of sorrow but of realization, that they held the power to shape their reality through faith. However, just as the fervor reached its peak, shadows darted along the fringes of their gathering. A sudden wind whipped through the marketplace, startling the villagers. Whispers of worry returned, threatening to seep back into their hearts. Elias held his ground, a sentinel against the rising uncertainty. "Hold on to your commitments. Be vigilant against the whispers of doubt. They feed on fear. You have power. Wield it. Your shared faith can silence even the darkest whispers." He stepped closer, his gaze piercing through to the depths of their souls. "Trust in what you've committed to. Love, abundance, healing. Each step forward reinforces the bonds that connect you. You are the spark. Believe in the divine that flows through you." Sarah's heart raced as she felt the weight of his words settle around them like a holy mantle. The air stirred again, but this time it felt charged, not with anxiety, but with possibility. A new realization washed over her. The strength to resist their fears and voicing their deepest desires was not just a singular fight. It was a united cause. As they stood together, they felt an overwhelming sense of purpose. What awaited them next would undoubtedly challenge their resolve. Yet there was also profound promise, a divine mystery, waiting just beyond the horizon. What blessings would unfold if they faced the trials together? Would their faith be enough to challenge the creeping shadows? The sun climbed higher, illuminating the village with a warm golden light. There was an energy in the air that felt palpable, as everyone seemed to be holding their breath, waiting. The shared experience by the fountain created bonds stronger than the cobblestone paths beneath their feet. Together, they had invoked courage, illuminating the darkness of doubt. Still, an unshakable tension lingered, a whisper that warned them of the trials ahead. Elias sensed the shift, the impending storm. "Remember," he said, voice steady yet gentle, "fear is like fog. It obscures our vision. What we see clearly in prayer may look dim in doubt. We must hold tight to our shared hopes." Sarah looked around, her heart aflame with the commitment they had pledged to one another. Each face reflected a different desire, a wish carried like a soft burden. She could feel their dreams stir within her, merging into a collective force, a tapestry of hope woven tightly with threads of faith. She closed her eyes, taking a deep breath, grounding herself in the moment. Elias's words pulled her from her reverie. "In moments of fear, let us not dwell on what may come, but on what we have right now, each other. When you walk alongside love, even the darkest paths can reveal their light." With that, they began to speak their intentions aloud, voices rising, melding together into a symphony of aspirations. Thomas declared for strength, Mary's voice lifted for healing, and others followed suit, sharing their dreams and fears like seeds cast upon fertile soil. As they shared, Sarah felt the enveloping warmth of community swell around her, a tide of spirit that felt so tangible. It was almost a romantic dance with the divine. Her fears began to dissipate like dying embers. Each word spoken was another breath of fresh air, a radiant pulse of encouragement. "What if we do not just dream of abundance but become it?" Sarah cried, fiery passion igniting her spirit. "We are the architects of our reality. Let faith be the blueprint we lay down." The crowd murmured, energized by her words. A ripple of agreement surged through them, a tidal wave of shared belief ready to wash over all obstacles. Yet just then, a cold gust swept through the square again, scattering leaves and rattling the air with an unsettling chill. Whispers chased each other throughout the group, nudging doubt back into their hearts. Elias raised an arm, calling for silence. "Do not be shaken, beloved. This wind brings the weight of our past. It will test our resolve. Stand firm against it. Remember your hands are knit with those beside you. Call upon the divine protection around us." The villagers nodded, thickening the spokes of their unity as they braced against the intruding winds. Their hands squeezed tighter, breaths synchronized, aligning their hearts with a steady rhythm. In this sacred moment, they were more than individuals. They were a blossoming garden, and together they were destined to thrive. Encouraged, Sarah felt the charged energy infuse her resolve anew. "Let us rise against every shadow that dares touch our hearts. In this sacred circle, we hold the power of our collective faith." A palpable hush befell the gathering, as light began to filter through, illuminating their fervent forms. Even the chilling winds seemed to quiet, retreating before their undeniable spirit. But internally, Sarah sensed a deeper unease, a whisper in the back of her mind. What if this was just the beginning? The villagers' hopes were strung like delicate threads, each moment a test of their resolve. The air hummed with a divine presence, thrilling yet daunting. What would be demanded of them next? And could their shared faith truly weather all storms to come? As questions lingered among them, a gentle breeze carried a new scent, the faint aroma of promise, beckoning them to lean into the unknown. What divine challenges awaited their united hearts? Would they be strong enough to manifest the blessings they so confidently claimed? As silence cocooned them, the light around flickered, each villager feeling the intensity of their shared breath. It was as if the heavens themselves were holding counsel, waiting for their response. In Sarah's heart, an awakening was burgeoning. A calling that whispered of something magnificent lying just beyond the horizon of their collective faith. Then the wind shifted. No longer cold and harsh, it transformed into a soft current, carrying warmth and gentle whispers as it danced through the square. Elias's eyes sparkled with recognition. "The Spirit moves among us," he proclaimed, his voice ringing clear as a bell. "This is our moment to seize. Let us open ourselves to the divine opportunities that await." A soft murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd, raising the hairs on Sarah's arms. With each heartbeat, the village pulsed like a single entity, their spirits intertwined with a common purpose. She looked at each face, each glowing with anticipation, reflecting a glimmer of the divine light encircling them. Sarah stepped forward, filled with newly unveiled courage. "Together we have faced shadows, yet we have learned too," she spoke, each word cutting through the chorus of doubt. "We must become the light we seek. Let us not waver now, but leap boldly into this promise, this call for transformation? The villagers nodded, their resolve solidifying. Thomas raised his hand again. Let us not only seek blessings, but be conduits of them. Let our hearts overflow, our lives redefine what abundance truly means. A fire ignited within them, warm and undying. The atmosphere thickened with purpose, as if angels were hovering close, keenly observing their decisions. Sarah felt an urge to kneel then, a humble recognition of the power they summoned through unity. One by one, others joined her, kneeling in reverence, hearts open. In this sacred kneeling, she implored, let us lift our prayers, our dreams, our very souls. We are not merely vessels, we are creators of abundance through our faith. In that moment, a visionary experience unfurled around them. The warm light intensified, weaving glows of golden threads about their joined hands. It shimmered like a tapestry of heavenly cloth, each pulse seeming to respond to their harmonized intentions. As they prayed, something unfamiliar stirred within Sarah. It was as if she could feel the very fabric of creation, vibrating at the frequency of their unity. What if we could reach into the unseen and bring it forth? She whispered, nearly caught up in the gravity of the moment. A loud crack nearby jolted them back. An ancient tree, weathered by time, burst forth in blossoms, vivid colors exploding against the green backdrop of the village. Gasps filled the air, a symbol of nature responding to the call of their hearts. Behold, Elias exclaimed, this is a sign, a reflection of our spirit. We are being beckoned to manifest the impossible. It's time to believe in more than just hope. It is time for action. The villages erupted in collective expression, shouts of awe, tears of joy, hearts pounding with renewed fervor and anticipation. The seeds of their intentions were sprouting before their eyes. But a query nestled in Sarah's spirit, a pressing whisper in the stillness of her mind. What if this was merely the beginning? If the tree symbolized their unity, what would happen should they falter? What journey lay before them entwined with this divine resonance? The air thickened with expectancy, promising challenges and revelations just at the edge of the visible horizon. Sarah felt her heart racing, the weight of possibility resting heavily yet joyfully upon her. Where would their renewed faith take them next? Would their unity withstand the weight of their aspirations? The path stretched before them, leading into uncharted realms, yet together they remained tethered, ready to embrace whatever awaited. As the villagers marveled at the blossoms adorning the ancient tree, a sense of unity enveloped them like a warm blanket. The air shimmered with a charged energy, as if the fabric of the world was shifting to accommodate their awakened spirits. Sarah's heartbeat echoed the rhythm of hope. "Look how the tree blooms," she declared, her voice trembling with emotion. "This is just the beginning. Our faith can make rivers flow in arid lands." Elias raised his arms, inviting everyone to join in celebration. "We are the bearers of the divine spark," he cried, joy and fervor coursing through him. "Together, we will cultivate this miracle. Let's not merely observe the beauty, let's cultivate the spirit that brings it forth." As laughter and shouts erupted among the villagers, a flicker of doubt crept into Sarah's heart once more. There was exhilaration in this moment, yes, but with excitement came responsibility. "What if we stumble?" she pondered. "What if the darkness comes creeping back?" A gentle breeze arose, brushing against her cheeks, and in that moment she felt a reassuring presence, as if the universe were winking at her fears. "I need not carry the burden alone," she whispered to herself, recalling the shared faith that had brought them to this juncture. "Gather, my friends," Thomas called, wrapping them in taut energy, lifting their spirits. "This is not merely about our dreams, but about the full fabric of life. We must express gratitude for what we have and for what is to come." They formed a circle, hands clasped tightly, prayers rising like smoke signals into the sky. Each whispered intention became a thread, weaving them closer together. They called upon the hidden abundance of the universe, inviting love, joy, and transformation to flow freely among them. In that sacred space, Sarah felt surges of hope merging with her surrounding companions. It struck her then. It wasn't just about what they could receive. It was about what they could give. She felt the desire to share their blessings, to become fountains of love in their community. A quiet hum resonated through the group, a tangible meditation taking root in their hearts. With each word spoken aloud, they pictured springs of generosity flowing from the tree, every flower symbolizing something beautiful: peace, kindness, compassion. Each blossom offered a prayer to the universe. And suddenly, a small child, a little girl with wild curls and a bright smile, darted forward. "Will the tree make my wishes come true?" she asked, eyes wide with innocent wonder. A hush fell over the group. Sarah's chest tightened. How could they answer her? Did they truly believe in miracles, or were their hopes just fanciful dreams? Yet her spirit stirred, and she felt compelled to respond. "Yes, sweet one, the tree blooms because we believe, because together our intentions are like seeds sown in fertile ground." The little girl grinned, her laughter cutting through the air like sunlight breaking through the clouds. Lightly she touched one of the blooms, as if igniting a spark that fused every soul present. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, a new warmth surrounded them. Each villager recognized the sacredness of their moment together. They were not just dreamers, they were co-creators, called to manifest the unseen into reality through their unity and faith. Yet a deeper question lingered in Sarah's mind, urging her to explore even further. What transformative journey might this newfound calling bring forth? Could they channel their faith into tangible change for themselves and their village? With resolve ignited, they prepared to take their first steps toward their aspirations, knowing it would not be without sacrifice. What awaited them on this path of divine manifestation? The air buzzed with divine expectancy as they turned to leave the square, venturing deeper into the unfolding adventure of life. As dusk illuminated the village in shades of amber, a divine stillness fell over the chapel. The villagers had returned to their sacred space, spirits soaring with anticipation and a touch of fear. Together, they'd embraced the blessings of the day, yet echoed softly beneath it all was an understanding. They stood on the cusp of something monumental. Sarah felt her heart race as she surveyed the faces around her, each one reflecting an array of hopes and dreams. With a profound sense of purpose, she took a step forward. Brothers and sisters, today we embark on a journey. Our commitment to manifesting abundance, love, and healing lies not just in our prayers, but in our actions. The congregation murmured their agreement. Thomas nodded, feeling inspired. We are the messengers of our own miracles. We must nurture our intentions like seedlings, tending to them daily, pouring love and care into each one. Elias stood, the warmth of the candlelight casting a halo around him. You are each threads of this beautiful tapestry, individually unique but woven together. The miracles you seek reside in your collective faith, your unwavering hope. Internally you may feel the shadows of doubt. Acknowledge them, speak them, but do not let them overshadow the light you carry. As he spoke, Sarah's heart swelled with understanding. She recalled the tree, the blossoms that had burst forth in response to their unity. We must be like that tree, she urged, growing strong, rooted in love, sharing our fruits with each other, and reflecting God's glory in everything we do. The villagers nodded, hearts tightening in unity, a chorus of belief and determination. Together, they formulated a plan, each contributing. They would dedicate the next 40 days to their heart's intentions, working side by side, growing not just individually but as a community. Mary spoke, her voice anchored with conviction. Let's open our homes and hearts to each other. We'll encourage those who are struggling. We'll celebrate each victory, no matter how small. With thunderous applause, their collective commitment was solidified. The chapel radiated a sacred energy, fueled by their resolve. They would move forward, knotted tighter in unity, inviting divine abundance in every form imaginable. Days turned to weeks, and each evening brought together prayers, laughter, and tears. They shared meals, stories, and burdens. Thomas's father began to heal, fostering a newfound bond between father and son that transcended their earlier struggles. Mary bravely reached out to her estranged brother, each dialogue another bloom unfurling toward reconciliation. Yet, it wasn't without challenges. Shadows often crept in, doubt whispering insidiously, but they became a collective shield against the darkness, a network of unwavering faith. When shadows creep in, remember our strength is in our unity, Sarah would remind them, voice rising in conviction. One fateful evening, storms darkened the sky, and spirits began to wane. The wind howled outside, fear threading through the hearts of the villagers. "We cannot let this darkness extinguish our light," Sarah exclaimed, rallying her friends. Together, they ignited candles around the chapel, their flames flickering defiantly against the tempestuous winds outside. They joined hands, forming a circle, the warmth of their combined energy more potent than the storm itself. "Let's pray," Sarah urged, her voice resolute. With sincere hearts, they entered into a powerful prayer, each voice lifted in raw, fervent supplications, enveloped in the shared vibration of hope. As they poured their souls into the universe, peace began to blanket the chapel, the roaring winds outside subdued by the fervor of their faith. Suddenly, a radiance enveloped the room, the very presence of divine grace. Each villager felt an electrifying warmth wrap around them, transcending fear. "Love is stronger than the storm," Thomas shouted, his voice carrying the conviction of newfound strength. And as they opened their eyes, the storm raged outside, but within their sanctuary it was tranquil. In the ensuing days, as the clouds parted, hope flourished anew. Each time they gathered, they acknowledged their struggles, celebrated victories, and offered gratitude for their unwavering bond. The village began to transform, the love they manifested spilling into the community and sowing seeds of change. And then one afternoon, a gentle knock echoed through the chapel doors. An elderly man walked in, his eyes weary yet glimmering with hope. "I've heard of your miracles. I have come to this village seeking assistance," he said, tears glistening in his eyes. "I am burdened and lost." In an instant, the villagers knew what they needed to do. They enveloped him in kindness, feeding him, listening to his story, and lifting his spirits. As he shared his struggles, the warmth in their hearts encased him fiercely. As he departed, lighter and filled with hope, Sarah felt the sweet pull of divine purpose settle into her soul. They were reflections of God's grace, manifestations of love and abundance, reshaping lives wherever they went. As they prepared to gather for the last evening of their commitment journey, Sarah raised her hands. "We embarked upon this journey to manifest our dreams, and we've done so much more. We have transformed not just our lives, but the very fabric of our community." Her voice rang clear. Elias beamed with pride, and as twilight descended, the villagers held a celebratory vigil. They sung praises, lifted each other's dreams high above, bare-eyed and raw in their vulnerability. They acknowledged the journey, every challenge faced, every shadow cast aside, and what lay ahead pulsed vibrantly with promise. As the final notes of their celebration rang through the heavens, Sarah realized the transformation in her heart, a deep understanding that their journey had been one of love, and together they would pave the way for more miracles. In that moment, the chapel was more than a building. It was a home, a sanctuary of hope and faith, a divine promise that love could manifest just as abundantly as prosperity. And so, with hearts aglow and spirits intertwined, they stepped into the new dawn, ready to continue this incredible journey of faith together. Now, dear friends, this is the time to act. You need to subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support matters. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this ending, for your words inspire others. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of love and abundance. Only true servants of God understand the importance of supporting this mission through your actions. Draw others into this sacred circle of faith.